Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me. Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. How do the Palestinian people respond to the claim, first made by Israel and then endorsed by the United States, that the responsibility for the bomb that killed 500 innocent patients in a hospital in Gaza on Tuesday night lies squarely with Islamic jihad and not the Israeli Defense Forces? And secondly, how do the Palestinian people view the outcome of President Biden's 8-hour visit to Israel? Those are the two key questions I shall put today to a member of the Palestinian Legislative Council and president of the Palestinian National Initiative, Dr. Mustafa Barghouti. Dr. Barghouti, let's start with the horrific bombing of the Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza on Tuesday night, which killed 500 innocent patients. First, Israel and then the United States have claimed that this was not the responsibility of the Israeli Defense Forces, but a rocket misfired by Islamic Jihad. As a member of the Palestinian Legislative Council, how do you respond to that?
First of all, let me say that at this very moment, Israel is continuing 3 major war crimes on the people of Gaza. The first one is the act of collective punishment, depriving people, women, men, and children from water, food, electricity, and medications. 3 hospitals have already collapsed because they don't have access to energy, to electricity, and to medical supplies. The second war crime is the atrocity of genocide that is happening because of continuous Israeli airstrikes that took, till this moment, the lives of 3,785 Palestinians, mainly children. A lot of them are children, about half of them would be children. And these airstrikes continue non-stop. Every 5 minutes, we lose a Palestinian by Israeli airstrikes. Every 15 minutes, we lose a child in Gaza by Israeli airstrikes. And the third act of war crime is the genocide, is the act of ethnic cleansing against the people of Gaza. Israel has already ethnically cleansed 1.1 million people from the north and middle of Gaza, and they want to evict everybody to Egypt. That's what they say. In one of the most horrendous acts of ethnic cleansing in the 21st century. But in response to what they claim about the hospital, of course, it was a terrible crime when you bombard a hospital. And of course, it was an Israeli airstrike, because no Palestinian militant group has the ability of that powerful explosion in any of their rockets. It's impossible. They couldn't have had that. And the claim, the Israelis all the time try to cover up when they are caught committing a crime. And the Israeli military spokesperson always used the same technique of lying to the world about what happened and changing their story many times. This was the case with Shireen Abu Akleh, the Palestinian-American journalist who was shot to death by an Israeli sniper. They kept changing the story. And in the beginning, they said that a Palestinian killed her, till they eventually admitted it was an Israeli soldier. It took them weeks and weeks to investigate the killing of one person. But in this case, the killing of more than 475 Palestinians in that hospital, mostly children and women, in 5 hours, they made a conclusion, but after they lied 3 times. Their first lie was that they bombarded the hospital because there were Hamas militants in it. Then they quickly changed that lie with another lie, saying it was a Hamas rocket. Then the third lie came, saying it was a jihad rocket. All of that are lies, and it is absolutely unacceptable for the United States president to continue to follow the lies of Netanyahu. Let me remind you of 2 or 3 other lies that Netanyahu told to Biden, and Biden repeated them without verifying them. The first lie was that Palestinians decapitated children. The CNN reporter apologized publicly for reporting this Israeli lie without verifying it, and it turned out to be a big lie. The second lie was that Israeli women were raped. Again, the Los Angeles correspondent had to apologize for that lie because they reported what Netanyahu told them. And the third lie was the lie about that Israeli child who was burned, and it turned out it was a fabrication with artificial intelligence. So I don't understand why the president of the United States dares to not only accept this lie, but says that he is teaming up with an army that is committing war crimes against another people. That is unacceptable. And let me also tell you that this hospital, before it was hit by the Israeli airstrike, it was threatened that if the people don't evict the hospital, they will be hit. And they had already a strike, a smaller strike, on the 14th of October. 22 other hospitals were given the same ultimatum. Add to that, up till now, and that's something that Israel cannot deny, Israel has destroyed completely or partially, according to World Health Organization, 57 Palestinian hospitals and health centers. So the picture is clear.
Let me put this to you, Mr. Barghouti. The Americans say they have their own evidence. And this has been stated not just by the president, but by the spokesperson for the National Security Council, that their own evidence also confirms Israel. And Israel, when their spokesperson, Admiral Daniel Hagari, made their evidence public, said they had a transcript of Hamas talking to each other, where they were confirming that this was a mistake made by them. Most people say that transcript could be clinching. How do you respond to that?
Another lie. It's a series of lies, and the Americans are just unconditionally supporting Israel with whatever it does, and they don't verify. And who said that a criminal can investigate himself? Israel is accused of this terrible, barbaric attack on Palestinian civilians, and it claims it has the right to investigate itself. I welcome an immediate international independent commission to come and investigate the matter. And I tell you from now, Israel would never allow an independent international commission to investigate this issue, because they never do that, because they know deep down that they lied and they want to keep this lie alive.
Okay, I'll move to something else, but just for the sake of the audience, I'll ask you, you are saying to me it is a lie that your Islamic jihad was responsible, Israel is lying, and secondly, you're saying it's unacceptable for the American president to accept this lie.
Yeah, because he already repeated lies before, and they turned out to be lies, like decapitation of children.
Okay, let's move on then, Mr. Barghouti. The attack on the Gaza hospital led to the Jordan summit being called off, and as a result, President Biden did not meet with the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, the King of Jordan, or the Egyptian president. Were these Arab leaders right not to meet him, or did they lose an opportunity to reduce tension and perhaps obtain a ceasefire? And I know from interviews you've given to CNN that you believe a ceasefire is the immediate requirement. So did the Arab leaders lose an opportunity by refusing to meet the American president?
No, they refused to give Mr. Biden the opportunity to cover up his alliance with Israel and to cover up his rejection of a ceasefire. And they refused to give Blinken and President Biden the acceptance of transferring Palestinians in an act of ethnic cleansing from Gaza to Jordan and Egypt and Saudi Arabia. They refused to do that. And because of that, they knew that if they meet with President Biden after he meets with the war room of Israel, they will be providing him with a cover for the unconditional support of war crimes that are committed against Palestinian people. Had they known that President Biden will be ready to accept ceasefire, they would have met with him. But because they became sure, hold on, please. They were sure before the meeting. I know that it's not like media information. I know it for sure. They knew before the meeting that Biden will not accept ceasefire, will not promote ceasefire, and will support the continuation of Israeli genocide attacks on Palestinians. And that's why they refused to meet him.
So in a nutshell, they knew that he was looking for political cover and they were not willing to provide that political cover by meeting him.
Absolutely, especially that their people are demonstrating in the streets against these horrible atrocities committed against the Palestinian people.
Very quickly, let's come to what President Biden spoke about when he met the Israeli government and Mr. Netanyahu. Now, earlier, before he came to Israel, he had publicly said on 2 occasions that Israel must observe the rules of war. Separately, Secretary Blinken had repeatedly said ensuring civilian casualties are minimized is essential. But in Israel, on Israeli soil, the message was rather different. It wasn't so strongly emphasized. All Biden said was, don't be consumed by rage. More importantly, he also announced an unprecedented military package for Israel. My question is, how do you read this? Do you fear that Biden has given Netanyahu some sort of green light for a ground invasion of Gaza?
Absolutely. Not only that, he's sending 2,000 American troops to participate in this ground invasion. He's sending 2 aircraft carriers to protect Israel and provide military support in case it needs it. President Biden is making the United States not only complicit, but a participant in the war crimes.
So in fact, you're also saying that the position he took when he spoke to Jewish leaders in Washington or when he spoke to 60 Minutes, that Israel must observe the rules of war, was diluted when instead in Israel he said, just don't be consumed by rage. That is not anything to do with observing the rules of war. It's simply be careful, don't kill too many, don't do too much damage.
Absolutely, and more than that, I think he's working against the noble act of many Jewish people, American Jewish people, who took to the street and demonstrated demanding ceasefire and the stop of these crimes against the Palestinians, who also went inside the Congress and demonstrated inside the Congress demanding immediate ceasefire. This is a noble Jewish voice, and it combines exactly with the Palestinian noble voice that we should immediately have ceasefire, we should stop the acts of ethnic cleansing, we should stop the acts of genocide and collective punishment against the Palestinian population. And I have to leave you, sir. I'm sorry.
One last question, sir. One last question. The other big issue Biden raised was about humanitarian aid, and he declared that, in fact, he has convinced Israel to accept humanitarian aid for Gaza through the Rafah border, provided Hamas doesn't share it. Biden has also separately promised $100 million worth of humanitarian aid directly for Gaza. Does this mean that we will see a discernible improvement in the lives of people in Gaza, or does this entirely depend upon the conditions Israel sets, about which people are not paying much attention at the moment?
What we see on the ground is nothing. Up till now, nothing entered Gaza, not a drop of water, not a package of medicine, not a package of food, nothing. They say that 20 trucks might be allowed in tomorrow. 20 trucks? What can 20 trucks do for 2.3 million people who have been thirsty, deprived of food, deprived of medicine and medical equipment for already 12 days? It's nothing. If they really care, they should stop the airstrikes, have a ceasefire, and initiate true humanitarian support to the Palestinian people.
As a Palestinian,
Yes.
were you concerned
Sir-
by President Biden's very personal, emotional commitment to Netanyahu? He hugged him on arrival. He embraced him. His message was very personal. Did that worry you? Does it show that he's balanced, or does it show he's one-sided and partisan in your eyes?
I have to go. I told you I have to go. And you said this was your last question.
But can't
So
you
I'm
just
sorry.
answer this? It's about personal
No.
behavior from the President of America. Did you think he was balanced, or did you...
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.